Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be covering complete unit 4, that is functions in C. Guys, I have uploaded complete PPS subject tutorials. I will provide link in description, you can watch from there. I also provided study material link in description, you can download from there. If you are watching this video for the first time, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Let's get started. At first, I will explain function and various types of functions, and also I will explain various types of user-defined functions. At first, I will explain what is function. Function is a block of code that can be reused n number of times. The main use of function is code reusability. For example, when you want to develop any software, there are situations where you need to repeat some lines of code again and again. So instead of writing same lines of code again and again, we use functions. Whatever the code that we written inside our function, we can repeat this block of code multiple number of times. I will give one example so that you can clearly understand how function will work. Before that, you need to know what are the types of functions. Functions are classified into two types. One is standard library functions and next one is user-defined functions. At first, I will explain what are standard library functions. The standard library functions are built-in functions. That meaning of these functions are already present in header files. For example, if you consider printf, scanf, this printf and scanf meanings are present in htdavo.h header file. We call this printf and scanf as built-in functions because these meanings are present in htdavo.h header file. Next, user-defined functions. Function which is created by user for his need is known as user-defined function. For example, you can give any name for your function like sum. The sum is function name, or you can also give any other name like fun, so on. This is user-defined function. Now I will explain program for user-defined function. This is program to create a function. At first you need to write hash include htdavo.h. After that you need to write void. Now you need to write here your function name. For example, I want to give my function name as fun. So I am giving here function name as fun. As we know, we will denote function by using brackets. Here I am not giving any return type. So I written here void fun. Inside this you need to write your code. For example, I want to print some statements like college and I want to print another statement like CSC. I created my function. My function name is fun. Inside my function, I written both like printf college and printf CSC. Now I want to print this statement. Now you need to write void main. Inside void main you need to call your function by giving your function name. I given here function name as fun. So I am calling this function fun. And definitely you need to include semicolon here. By writing this code, you will get output as college and CSC. For example, if you write function again, if you write your function name again, I written my function name twice. So I will get output as college and CSC twice because I written here function twice. For example, if you want to repeat this code thrice, then you need to write here function. This is use of function. By using function, you can repeat block of code multiple number of times. Now I will explain program for addition of two numbers by using function. At first I written hash include htdavo.h. After that I written void because I am not giving any return type. So I written here void and I given function name as add. Inside this I am writing code for addition of two numbers. So I written here int a comma b comma c. After that I written printf. After that I written scanf %d and a and b. By writing this I can enter two values of a and b. After that I written c equal to a plus b. Now this c will contain result. So we need to print c by writing printf %d comma c. After that you need to write void main and you need to call your function inside main function. So I written here void main. Now you need to call this function by giving function name. Here I given function name as add. So you need to write here add. By writing this you will get output as enter values of a comma b. Now I can enter values like I want to add two numbers 10 and 20. Whenever you enter 10 and 20 you will get output as 30. For example, if I write my function name again inside this main function, now I can enter values twice. So again I will get output as enter values of a comma b. Now I can enter two values. For example, I want to add 5 and 5. So by writing this I will get output as 10. For example, again if you write your function name here, you can enter values 3 times. Whenever you execute your program, at first control goes to main function. So inside main function I written add. After that it will check whether any add function is present in program or not. So add function is present here. So it will run this code. So you need to remember that whenever you execute your program, at first control goes to main function. After that, inside main function I given function name as add. So it will check whether add function is present in our program or not. So add function is present here. So control goes to add function and it will execute code which is present in add function. For example, if you want to use the return type for function, just in place of void you need to write int and here you need to write return 0. This is return type of a function. Next I will explain passing parameters to a function. We also call these parameters as arguments. I will explain program in order to pass arguments to a function. At first you need to write hash include stdio.h. Now you need to create your function void. I am giving function name as fun. Whatever the information that you write inside these brackets, you call it as arguments. Now I want to pass two arguments to this function. First one is int a because I want to pass one argument as integer value and I want to pass another argument as string. How we declare string? Like character b. Whenever you write character data type along with array, it represents string. Inside this you need to write printf for integer %d and %s /n comma a comma b. By writing this it will print one integer value and one string value. After that you need to write void main. You given function name as fun. Here you may get doubt like where to give values. Here I just written int a and I did not given any value, and similarly I written here string b and I did not given any value. So you need to give values here. Inside this function you need to write first value is integer, so I am giving value as 10 comma next one is string. For example, I want to print string that is college. So you need to write college in double quotations. By writing this code you will get output as 10 and college. This is my output. For example, if you want to give another value like function 20 comma btech. So I am calling function twice with different values. So I will get output as 20 btech. Similarly, if I call three functions like function 40 comma csc, I will get output as 10 college, 20 btech and 40 csc. This is my output. Next I will explain various types of user defined functions. User defined functions are classified into four types. First one is functions with no arguments and no return values, and second one is function with no arguments and with return values. Third one is function with arguments and no return values. Fourth one is function with arguments and with return values. I will explain programs for all these categories. This is program for function with no arguments and no return values. No return value mean I am not returning anything, so I return here void and I given function name as my fun. And I am not passing any arguments inside this function. So we call it as function with no arguments and no return value. Inside this I return printf and I return statement as how are you, and inside void main I return my function name. Here I given my function name as my fun. Here I return my function name as my fun. So you need to write here my fun. You need to close this function with semicolon. I return my function 3 times. So I will get output as how are you and how are you. This is my output. And next one is function with no arguments and with return type. Functions with no arguments mean I am not passing any arguments inside this function, and with return type mean I am using return type. So I return here int and inside this function I return 0. This is program for function with no arguments and with return type. So this is same program which I written before. So by writing this I will get output as how are you and how are you. This is my output. And next program is for function with arguments and no return values. At first I written hash include stdio.h. Here this program is for function with arguments and no return values. No return value mean I am not returning anything, so I return here void and I given my function name as my fun. Function with arguments mean I am passing arguments to this function. I am passing two arguments. One is string and another one is integer value. So I written here character A, I open square bracket, I close the square bracket. This represent array. Character data type along with array represent string. And next I written int B, and after that I written printf. For string we need to use %s, and for integer we need to use %d, comma a comma b. And inside void main I written my function name. Here I given my function name as myfun. So you need to write here myfun. And inside this you need to give values. I am giving character as Madhu and integer value as 3. And similarly again I written myfun, and inside this I written string name as Sai and value as 4. By writing this program I will get output as Madhu 3, Sai 4. This is my output. Next I will explain program for function with arguments and with return type. This program is same as function with arguments and no return values. Difference is that in place of void you need to write int, and here you need to write return 0. Rest everything is same. Function which contains return type and as well as parameters, we call it as signature of a function. So whenever signature of a function question comes in exam, then you need to write this syntax and then you can write this example, because it contains both return type and as well as parameters. Guys, in this example here I written void my function. We call it as function definition, and I written here void main. Inside this I am calling my function. So I call this my function which I written inside void main as calling function. Instead of writing this program like this, you can also write in another way. The same program you can write like this. Here I written hash include stdio.h. After that I written void my function, and I am closing this with semicolon. Whenever I write like this, we call it as function declaration. I am not defining function, I am just declaring my function. After that I written void main. Inside void main I written my function because I am calling this function. So we call this my function as calling function. After writing void main my function, now you need to define your function. So I written here void my function, and inside my function I given printf hello. So we call it as function definition. Instead of writing like this, you can also write like this. In previous example, instead of directly defining function, you can just declare function. After that you can define function after void main. Whenever function declaration question comes in exam, then you need to write this example, and whenever function definition question comes in exam, then you need to write this example. And they may also ask like difference between function definition and function declaration. Instead of directly defining function, I just declared my function, and then I am defining my function after writing main function. Next topic is standard library functions in C, and also I will explain passing arrays to functions. At first I will explain standard library functions in C. Standard library functions are built-in functions that are present in header files. For example, if you consider printf, scanf, this printf and scanf are built-in functions because meaning of printf and scanf is present in stdio.h header file. So we call it as built-in functions, and we include header files in our program by using hash include. For example, hash include stdio.h. This stdio.h is standard input output header file. These are some of the header files. First one is stdio.h, where stdio stands for standard input output dot header file. All input and output functions are present in stdio.h. For example, printf, scanf, so on. And next one is conio.h, where conio stands for console input output header file. And next one is string.h. All string functions are present in string.h header file. And next one is stdlib.h, where stdlib stands for standard library. Next one is math.h. All mathematical functions are present in math.h header file. And next one is time.h. Time and as well as clock related functions are present in time.h header file. Guys, these are the various functions that header files contains. First one is stdio.h. This header file contains functions such as printf, scanf, getc, putc and getS and putS, where getc stands for get character, putc stands for put character, and similarly getS stands for get string and puts stands for put string. Standard library.h header file contains these functions. And next, conio.h contains functions such as CLR, SCR, get ch, so on. And next, ctype.h contains functions such as is alpha, is digit, is lower, is upper, two lower and two upper functions. And math.h header file contains mathematical functions such as sqrt function, where sqrt stands for square root function, and POW, that means power function, so on. And string.h header file contains string handling functions such as strlen, where strlen stands for string length, strlwr, strupr, strrev, that means string lower, string upper and string reverse, and strcpy, that is string copy function, and so on. And process.h header file contains process and thread functions. fopen and fclose are file functions, and malloc, calloc and realloc free. All these are dynamic memory allocation functions. Guys, whenever standard library function question comes in exam, then you need to write all this. Next, I will explain passing arrays to function. As we know, if you want to store multiple values in single variable, then you need to use arrays. Example, a of 5 equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whenever you give size as 5, that means you can store 5 values in a single variable. This is use of arrays. If you want to pass array as parameter to a function, then there are three ways. This is first way. Here I written void fun. Here I given my function name as fun. Inside this I written int pointer array name. This is first way if you want to pass array as arguments to a function. And this is second way. Here I written void. I given function name as fun. Inside this I written int array name and I given size as 10. And this is third way. Here I written void fun, where fun is function name. Inside this function I written int array name. I open square bracket and then I close the square bracket, and I did not given any size inside this. This is third way. I will give one example. This is an example to pass array as argument to a function. Here I took void main. Inside void main I written int a. I open square bracket and then I close the square bracket. I did not given any size. After that I written is equal to. Inside curly brackets I written 10, 20, 30, 40. I am giving 4 values 10, 20, 30 and 40. Now I am creating function. Let function name be fun. Inside this you need to write array name. I given array name as a. So I need to write here a. Now I need to write separate code for this. So I took void. I given function name as fun. So I written here void fun. Inside this I written array. I given array name as a and data type is int. So here you need to write int a. I want to print all 4 values. All these are integers. So I written here printf percentage d, percentage d, percentage d, percentage d, comma a of 0. This percentage d is for a of 0, 1, a of 1, a of 2 and a of 3. That means value which is present in index number 0, index number 1, index number 2 and index number 3. Will be printed as output. So I will get output as 10, 20, 30, 40. This is my output. This is an example of passing array as argument to a function. Next topic is parameter passing techniques in C. We also call this parameter passing techniques as interfunction communication. Parameter passing techniques are classified into 2 types. One is pass by value and next one is pass by reference. At first I will explain what is pass by value. I will explain this pass by value with program. At first I written hash include stdio.h. After that I written void main. Inside void main I will write int a equal to 10. I took 2 variables. One is a and one is b. Value of a is 10 and value of b is 20. Now I am creating one function. Let function name be fun. You can give any name to your function. I am taking function name as fun. Inside this I written a comma b. Value of a is 10 and value of b is 20. A will store value 10 and b will store value 20. After that I written printf. After that I written printf percentage d comma a comma b. Here I given my function name as fun. So now I am writing code for this function fun. Here I given my function name as fun. So write same here fun. I am passing 2 parameters to this function fun. One parameter is int x, comma another parameter is int y. Now inside this function I am writing x is equal to y. This is program for pass by value. I will explain this. Here inside void main I written int a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. After that I created one function. Let function name be fun. Inside this function I written a comma b. As we know, variable a contains value 10 and variable b contains value 20. So a will store value 10 and b will store value 20. Values which are present in variable A and variable B, that is 10 and 20 is transferred to this int x and int y. Now this x will store value 10 and y will store value 20. Data types and variables which are written inside our function is known as formal parameters, because I written int x and int y inside my function fun. So now we call this int x and int y as formal parameters. Variables which are present inside main function that are passed to formal parameters is known as actual parameters. So now we call this variable A and variable B as actual parameters, because values of variable A and variable B are transferred to formal parameters int x and int y. After that, inside this I given condition, that is x equal to y. Actually y value is 20. So now x value will be 20, because I given condition as x equal to y. Y value is 20, that is equal to x. By using printf we can generate output. So I written here %d comma a comma b. Whenever I write this, actually I should get output as 20 comma 20, because here I given condition, that is x equal to y. That means x value is nothing but y value. So actually I should get output as 20 comma 20. But in pass by value, changes made to formal parameters will not affect actual parameters. Actually I should get output as 20 comma 20, but now I will get output as 10 comma 20, because whatever the changes that made to formal parameters will not affect actual parameters. This is pass by value. Next I will explain pass by reference. In pass by reference, changes made to these formal parameters will get transmitted back to actual parameters. That means whatever the changes made to these formal parameters will affect these actual parameters. I will explain this pass by reference program. This is program for pass by reference. This program is same as pass by value. Difference is that here in pass by value I written function a comma b, but here you need to write function and a comma and b, where and represent address. And next difference is in pass by value I written int x comma int y. Here you need to write, here in pass by reference you need to write int pointer variable x comma int pointer variable y. Inside this you need to write pointer x equal to pointer y. Same program, just difference is that here you need to take variable, and whereas here you need to take pointer variable. And here in pass by value I written a comma b, whereas in pass by reference you need to write and a comma and b, where and represent address. By writing this program I will get output as 20 comma 20, because in pass by reference, changes made to formal parameters will affect actual parameters. So here I changed x value as y. Value of y is 20. Value of x is 10. So I changed x value as y, that is 20. This value is sent back to this actual parameters. So definition of pass by reference is changes made to formal parameters will get transmitted back to actual parameters. We can also call pass by value as call by value, and we can also call this pass by reference as call by reference. Guys, whenever passing pointers to function question comes in exam, then you can write this example pass by reference, because here we are passing pointers to the function. So you can write this example. Next topic is what is recursion and limitations of recursion, and also I will explain programs for factorial of a number and Fibonacci series using recursion. At first I will explain what is recursion. Recursion is the technique of making a function call itself. Recursion is nothing but function which calls itself is known as recursion. This technique provides a way to break complicated problems into simple problems which are easy to solve. By using recursion we can break complicated complicated problems into simple problems so that we can easily solve those problems. This is an example of recursion. Here I created one function. Let function name be sum. Function which calls itself is known as recursion. So I'm calling this same function here. That means I'm calling this same function. So we call it as recursion because function which calls itself is known as recursion. These are the limitations of recursion. First disadvantage is recursion will consume more memory. This is first disadvantage. And second disadvantage is recursion can be slow because if recursion is not implemented properly, then it will be a slow process. And writing recursion function is not a easy task. It is complicated task to write a recursion program. And third disadvantage is it is difficult to analyze code in recursion function. As I already said before, by using recursion function, we can convert complex problems into simple problems. But before that, you need to understand what is that complex problem. So sometimes it is very difficult to understand this complex problem. By using recursive function, we can solve many mathematical problems such as calculating factorial of a number and Fibonacci series, so on. At first, I will explain program to calculate factorial of a number by using recursion. Before that, you need to know how to find factorial of a number. For example, if you consider 3 factorial, this is how we find factorial of a number. 3 factorial is 3 into 2 into 1, that is 6. And similarly, 4 factorial is 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, that is 24. And 5 factorial is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. We must start from that number and then we need to keep on multiplying by decrementing each value until 1. This is how we find factorial of a number. Now I will explain program in order to find factorial of a number by using recursion. At first I written hash include stdio.h. After that I written int and I am giving function name as factorial. Inside this I written int n. N is nothing but number which you want to find factorial. For example, I want to find factorial of 5. This 5 is integer. So I written here int n, where n will store number. After that, inside this you need to write condition, that is if n is less than or equal to 1, return 1, else return n into factorial of, this is formula of factorial, that is n into factorial of n minus 1. That means we will start from that number and then we will keep on multiplying by decrementing each value until 1. So here I given condition as if n is less than or equal to 1, return 1. Whenever I reach value to 1, then I need to stop here. So I written here return 1. By writing return 1, we can break this multiplication. After writing your own function, you need to write void main. Inside this, you need to give number. Like I want to find factorial of 5. So you need to give here int n equal to 5. After that, you need to write printf. You need to write this in order to generate output. So you need to write here factorial of percentage d is percentage d. This percentage d is for n, comma factorial of n. This factorial of n is present here. So by writing this, I will get output as factorial of this percentage d is for n. This n value is 5. So factorial of 5 is, this percentage d is for factorial of n. This factorial of n contains this block of code. Factorial of 5 is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, that is 120. So this is output in order to find factorial of a number by using recursion. Next I will explain C program for Fibonacci series using recursion. Before that, you need to know what is Fibonacci series. For example, at first you need to take 0 and after that 1. 0 plus 1 is 1 and similarly 1 plus 1 is 2 and 2 plus 1 is 3 and 3 plus 2 is 5 and 5 plus 3 is 8. This is known as Fibonacci series. Fibonacci series is nothing but we must keep on adding present element with previous element. At first you need to take 0 and 1 and you need to add these two. 0 plus 1 is 1 and similarly now present element is 1 and you need to add this present element with previous element, that is 1 plus 1, that is 2, and again add present element with previous element, that is 2 plus 1, that is 3, and add this present element with previous element, that is 3 plus 2, 5, and similarly add present element with previous element, that is 5 plus 3, that is 8. This is how we find Fibonacci series. We found Fibonacci series for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 elements. So in order to find Fibonacci series, we need to use for loop. So here I written for int. All these are integers. So I written here int I equal to 0, I less than 7. Starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I written here int I is equal to 0, I less than 7, I plus plus. You need to remember this. For Fibonacci series, we use for loop. Now I will explain program. Now I am writing program in order to find Fibonacci series up to 10 numbers starting from 0. 0 plus 1 is 1, and similarly 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, and 8 plus 5 is 13, 13 plus 8 is 21, 21 plus 13 is 34. So starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So starting from 0 up to 9. So for that purpose I need to take for loop. I written here void main. Inside void main you need to take for loop. For all these are integers. So int I equal to 0 up to 9 mean I less than 10, I plus plus. Inside this you need to write printf %d /n comma. I am creating my own function. Let function name be Fibonacci because we are finding Fibonacci. So I am giving function name also Fibonacci. You can also give any name as your wish. I am giving function name as Fibonacci of I. This is I. So inside this I written I. Now we need to apply formula. I given function name as Fibonacci. So now I am writing function int Fibonacci of int I. Inside this you need to write if I is equal to 0 return 0, else if I is equal to 1 return 1. Here I took if I is equal to 0 return 0, else if I is equal to 1 return 1 because here first two numbers are 0 and 1. So I return this both. After that else return. Now you need to write formula, that is Fibonacci of I minus 1 plus Fibonacci of I minus 2. At first we return 0 and 1. After that we are adding these two numbers 0 and 1. So I written here Fibonacci of I minus 1 plus I minus 2, that is I minus 1 is 1 and I minus 2 is 0. 1 plus 0 is 1. This is result of third element. And similarly we will keep on repeating this formula until this condition is satisfied, that is int I is equal to 0, that is int I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. That means we will get result up to 10 numbers 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21 and 34. This is output for this program. This is how we calculate Fibonacci series. Guys, in factorial example you need to remember this. Factorial of n is nothing but this is function which we created. So this function contains separate code that contains formula. So this is formula of factorial, that is if n is less than or equal to return 1, else return n into factorial of n minus 1. That means we will start from that same number and we will keep on multiplying by decrementing each value until we reach 1. This is break condition. That is whenever we find number 1 we will break that condition. So 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, that is 120. Whenever it finds 1 it will break that condition. Next topic is dynamic memory allocation in C. Normally we will initialize values like this. If you consider this array example, here I given size as 10. A of 10 is equal to 1, 2, 3. I given size as 10 but I given only 3 values. So whenever I declare like this it will create 10 memory locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So total it will create 10 blocks, and this 1 is stored in first block, 2 in second and 3 in third block. As we know integer will occupy 2 bytes of memory. So here I given size as 10. So it will occupy 10 into 2. That is 20 bytes of memory, but I given only 3 values. So this one will occupy 2 bytes, 2 bytes, 2 bytes, and all this remaining memory is wasted. Though I given size as 10, I initialized only 3 values, so that all this remaining memory is wasted. So in order to overcome this problem, that is in order to save memory, we use dynamic memory allocation. Guys, you need to remember one thing, that is each integer will occupy 2 bytes of memory, whereas each character will occupy 1 byte of memory. For example, if you consider 10, 20, 10, this 10 will occupy 2 bytes of memory, 20 will occupy 2 bytes of memory, and 10 will occupy 2 bytes of memory. For example, if you consider single character, this C will occupy 1 byte of memory, A will occupy 1 byte of memory, and D will occupy 1 byte of memory. By using dynamic memory allocation, we can allocate memory at runtime. That is, we can allocate memory during the execution of program. Dynamic memory allocation in C language is possible by 4 functions. For dynamic memory allocation, we use 4 functions. They are, first one is malloc, second one is calloc, third one is realloc, and fourth one is free. These are the 4 functions that we use for dynamic memory allocation. And these 4 functions are present in stdlib.h header file, standard library header file. At first I will explain malloc function. malloc function allocates single block of requested memory. This is syntax malloc of number into size of integer. I will give example so that you can clearly understand. Here I written example malloc of 15 into size of integer. That means I am taking integer value and I am giving size as 15. That means it will create one single block and it will allocate size as 15. 15 into 2, that is 30. So now I can store 15 values inside this. For example, you may get doubt like if I give only 3 values, then though I given size as 15, it will occupy size only for this 3. That is, it will occupy only 6 bytes of memory. This is use of malloc function. By using malloc function, we can create single block of memory of required size. Though I given here size as 15, but if I given here only 3 values, then it will occupy memory for only that 3 values. This is malloc function. Next I will explain calloc function. Calloc function allocates multiple blocks of requested memory. This is syntax calloc of number comma size of integer. This is an example. Here I written calloc of 15 comma size of integer. Whenever I declare like this calloc function will create 15 blocks and each block occupies 2 bytes of memory. This is difference between malloc and calloc. What malloc function will do is malloc function will create only single block of size 15, but whereas calloc function will create each block, like that it will create 15 blocks. The difference between malloc and calloc function is malloc function will create single block of memory and whereas calloc function will create 15 small blocks of memory where I can store single value inside one block. For example, if I given here only 3 values like 3, 12 and 13, then though I given size as 15, it will consume memory only for these 3 values. So it will occupy only 2 plus 2 plus 2, that is it will occupy only 6 bytes of memory. This is use of calloc function. And next one is realloc. For example, in malloc function we given size as 15. But if you want to increase this size to 30, then you need to use realloc function. If you want to change given size, then you need to use realloc function. This is syntax in order to change size. Here I written realloc and this is variable name and I am changing size 15 to 30. So you need to write here 30 into size of integer. Whatever the memory that you assigned, you need to delete this memory at last. So you can delete this assigned memory by using free function. This is use of free function. I will explain programs for this. This is program for malloc function. At first I written hash include stdio.h. After that I written hash include string.h because I am using string in this program. So I written here string.h header file. And next I written hash include stdlib.h. As I already said, this malloc is present in stdlib.h header file. So I written here hash include stdlib.h. After that I written void main. Inside void main I written character pointer p. I am taking pointer variable. I am giving this pointer variable name as p. And after that I written p is equal to malloc of 15 into size of character because I want to store character. So I written here character. Here also you need to write character. For example, if you want to store integer values, then you need to write here int. And then here you need to write int. But now I want to store character. So here I written character data type. Whenever you declare like this malloc function will create single block of memory with size 15. As I already said before, character will occupy 1 byte of memory. So 15 into 1. That means each character will occupy 1 byte of memory. Total I given size as 15, so it will take 15 bytes of memory. If pointer is equal to null, then print couldn't able to allocate memory. For example, there is situation like there is no memory in our system. So at that time it will print couldn't able to allocate memory. If memory is not present in our system, then it will print this statement couldn't able to allocate memory. Else, if memory is present in our system, then I want to transfer this string to pointer variable p. If memory is not present, then it will print couldn't able to allocate memory. Else, if memory is present, then by using string copy function, I can copy this text Nagendra to pointer variable p. So now my pointer variable p contains information Nagendra. Now I want to print this information by using printf. So I written here printf %s because this is string. For that purpose we need to use %s comma p. So by writing this I will get output as Nagendra. Though I given here size as 15, but my text contains only 8 characters. So it will occupy only 8 bytes of memory. This is use of malloc function. And at last you need to remove this allocated memory by using free function. So I written here free of p because p contains information. So I written here free of p. This is program for malloc function. Next I will explain program for calloc function. Guys, this program is same as malloc function. Only difference is that here you need to write p is equal to calloc of 15 comma size of character, wherein before example we written malloc of 15 into size of character, but here you need to write 15 comma size of character. Whenever you write like this, calloc function will create 15 small blocks and each block occupies 1 byte of memory, whereas malloc will create single block of size 15 and whereas calloc function will create 15 small blocks. These are the differences between malloc and calloc function. Next one is realloc function. For example, I assign value as 15, but now I want to change this value to 100. So for that purpose you need to use here, it first I written p is equal to calloc of 15 into size of character, but I want to increase this size 15 to 100. Then for that purpose I need to use realloc function. So I written here p is equal to realloc of p. At first you need to write p because this calloc is present in p. So you need to write here p comma 100 into size of character. So by writing this, my size is changed from 15 to 100. This is use of realloc function.